What proposition fails to understand is that arranged marriage is a narrative. It is a narrative that women's highest utility is to be used as a form of social contract to bond families towards one another in a form of inseparable contract. That if one family hurts another family, the harm is shared because the two families are tied together by the marriage of the children that they enter into this arranged marriage. This is used as a business contract. This is used as an alliance between families. This is something that is traditionally ingrained. And it manifests itself in three distinct ways. First is the internalization of this narrative by women that belong to these families. They believe that they are failures, that they are not able to fulfill their potential and their purpose if they do not opt into the arranged marriages that their families push them into. This means that they feel like they are not accepted by their family if they do not opt into these arranged marriages. Second, it also looks like the socialization and normalization of arranged marriage by community and the people around these women. That even if these women realize that there's something wrong with arranged marriage, they cannot opt out of the arranged marriage because the people around them believe that arranged marriage is something that is traditionally upright and is traditionally morally upstanding. Insofar as that if you do not opt into the arranged marriage, you are again a failure of your family, that you are a disgrace to your family, that you ruin your family's prestige, and you are not able to fulfill your purpose as a woman. This means that if you choose to go against the grain and against the trend of arranged marriage, that you honestly have to sacrifice the social connections that you've made, the social capital that you have as a woman, any pre-existing social capital you have, which has dire consequences in terms of losing the very important friends, in terms of losing important business contacts, in terms of even losing your autonomy because you are no longer able to maneuver socially. And lastly, it looks like external influences. Because of the consequences of socialized arranged marriage, the narrative that exists means that you are not able to operate independently with autonomy as a woman, because even if you choose to go against the grain, external factors like a lack of monetary or autonomy, for example, or other forms of recourse to be able to escape from arranged marriage means that it is impossible to escape from this narrative that you are meant to be used as a tool of your family. Now, why am I telling all of this to you? Because there's a problem-solution mismatch coming from proposition. Because their solution to this problem is to provide us outlets and loopholes. Things like divorce, for example, things like or maybe using businesses as contracts instead. But the problem is they aren't able to address the premises of the narrative that arranged marriage exists within India in the first place. What do I mean? This means that if I am a woman and I am opting in or I'm pushed into arranged marriage, it means that my family believes that I am the necessary glue to bond two families together. This means that if I choose to opt into things like divorce, I still betray the narrative of arranged marriage that my family believes in. And the very same forces that push you and force you into arranged marriage in the first place will continue to trap you there. Because of the circumstances that are socialized against you, if you choose to try to opt into things like divorce, like proposition proposes, then you fall into the same trap of losing all your social capital, not being able to choose the option of divorce in the first place because you have no financial autonomy, and divorcing for your husband means that you're possibly going to be thrown out the streets by your family. No one will support you because you're seen as a morally an ingrate to your family, and ultimately you end up living a far worse fate than staying with your husband otherwise would have been. And this is the problem coming from proposition. The loopholes that they need are not effective unless you actually abolish arranged marriage in the first place. This is a very crucial point coming from us at OO. Why is this? Because it means that the prerequisite to being able to access their claims of being able to do things like divorce in the first place, for example, or access things like business arrangements or marriage, which actually, by the way, families are unlikely to opt into, because if you believed in businesses or business arrangements being a solid form of trust in the first place, then arranged marriages wouldn't be there to serve as a form or binding contract between families in the first place. This means that the reason why we have marriages as binding contracts and business alliances, for example, within India, is because we believe that we can only trust the other party as long as if I harm another person or the other family, my own child suffers because they are married to their spouse, which is related to that family. And it is because of that inalienable trust that Indian culture provides or puts so much emphasis on arranged marriage to begin with. That is to say that you cannot supersede or you cannot opt into business alliances without then again going around or dismantling this notion that women are the best tools to form these bonds of inalienable, inseparable bonds between families to begin with. The problem here then is that proposition's claims are all outcome dependent. You have to buy the fact that you're able to access things like divorce, that you're able to access things like business alliances in order to outweigh the harm of not being able to pursue the abolishment of marriage. But they precisely are not able to pursue those impacts or those benefits in the first place unless they dismantle the narrative of arranged marriage. And that is precisely what we push for coming from opening opposition. That to abolish arranged marriage means to dismantle the narrative that exists within status quo. But before I move on, I'll take a POI. 5, 4.
So like, what do you think is more important? Making money or like preventing forced marriages?
I have no idea where you're going with that POI. But if this is a case about urgency, you are not able to protect women if women don't feel like they have the option to opt into the mechanisms that you provide in the first place because of the pre-existing narrative. So the prerequisite to achieving your benefits is dismantling the narrative of arranged marriage, which looks like not giving up on the cost or not wasting opportunity cost on pursuing narratives or on policies that will never actually be able to secure women their benefits, but rather focusing on dismantling the narrative by normalizing the idea that abolished marriage is something that is not okay, by removing the internal constraints that women have put on themselves, that they're failures to their family, by seeing other women speak out loudly about these things and make them realize that there are things that are more important than just being subservient to their family, like their autonomy, their freedom, and their well-being. And through this dismantling of the internalization of the narrative of arranged marriage, you're able to denormalize the idea that women are tools of utility. This begins with the most liberal families, of course, but gradually over time, a process that has consistently happened in every other state that has converted to feminism. It is a process of stigmatizing the idea of arranged marriage to the point where the benefits or the harms outweigh the benefits for any family that wants to opt into arranged marriage. And the only way you're able to do that is by focusing on abolishing arranged marriage and not wasting your opportunity cost. This has always been the path of the feminist movement to secure women's rights, and it's the only way you're actually going to be able to protect them both in the short term and the long term. For all of these reasons, I'm very proud to oppose. Thank you.